Hello, 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 my lovelies, and welcome to another Cozy Book Nook. This week's book was Watson's Apology by Beryl Bainbridge. And to be honest with you, it sucked. It was a chore to read. So, let's get down to it. Basic plot. One sentence plot summary is man murders his wife. A little more detail, though, is the book tells how they met. They met at a party. She didn't look twice at him. She didn't look twice at him. Several years down the road, he found out she was still single, sent a letter. It's like they met, had one conversation. The next day he proposed to her, and she agreed, and they went off back to England, and it just went downhill from there. She was a miserable person. He had the emotional range of a wet noodle. They were not a good match at all. He did love her at one point, and she was just so miserable that it disintegrated, and she basically just kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him, and he ended up finally snapping and beating her over the head. And then it goes into his trial, and they tried to do the insanity plea, but he was viewed as perfectly sane, so they found him guilty. He was going to hang, but because he was such a good person, because he was in charge of a school boys and like a headmaster of a school, and he was a clergyman and all that good jazz, he ended up getting off of the execution line, off the execution sentence, and just spent the rest of his life imprisoned. And he ended up dying from an infection from cutting his ear from falling out of bed. And that's the book. This book was such a chore to read. Oh my god. The plot was stagnant. It moved, but it moved so slow. It was ridiculous. Wasn't entertaining at all. I really, really wanted to just put the book down and leave it and walk away. Yeah, plot strength. Me giving that brief explanation, that's the gist of it. This book, it doesn't benefit the world. That's way harsh. I'm sorry. I hated the characters. They were all so mundane and blah. Like, I couldn't emotionally attach to any of them at all. There were so many characters that were like introduced and then introduced for like 2 sentences and then never mentioned again. It was ridiculous. There's like non-existent character development or character arcs. The writing style reminded me of a term paper. It was not enjoyable. I felt like I should pull out a red pen and be a teacher's assistant and be writing notes in the margins and all this other good jazz. There was like very little detail. It focused mostly on the characters, and it was mostly on conversations. Yeah. So this book, I didn't like it. I don't know to give it a 2. I think I'm giving this a 2. No, a 3. No, a 2. It's gonna be a 2. I just didn't like it. My life isn't better from reading it. I could have left it on the side of the road and my life would not have been for the worse. So, yeah. Next week's book. Linda Fairstein, Night Watch. 398 pages, 59 chapters. My significant other bought it at a used bookstore. Fine dining and murder go hand in hand in New York Times bestselling author Linda Fairstein's breathtaking new suspense novel, inspired by recent real-life events. That sounds cool. 48 hours after Alexandria Cooper arrives in France to visit her boyfriend, famed chef Luke, her vacation in paradise is cut short when a young woman in the village is found murdered. The only evidence discovered on the body is one of Luke's matchboxes promoting his new restaurant in Manhattan. But before the investigation begins, Alex is summoned back to New York to handle a high-profile case. Mohammed Gilderson, the distinguished and wealthy head of the World Economic Bureau, has been arrested and accused of attacking a maid in his hotel. As the world watches in fascination to see how the scandal will unfold, Alex finds her attention torn between preparing the alleged victim to testify in a murder case which ties too close to home. When a second body is found with Luke's matchbox, this time in Brooklyn, Alec begins to fear that the two cases may not be as unrelated as she thought, and that uncovering the sordid secrets of the city's most wealthy and powerful could cost her and her loved ones everything they hold dear. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. What? Okay, fun little fact on the back panel. Linda Fairstein was chief of the sex crimes unit of the district attorney's office in Manhattan for more than 2 decades and is America's foremost legal expert on sexual assault and domestic violence. Her Alexandria Cooper novels are international bestsellers and have been translated into more than a dozen languages. She lives in Manhattan and on Martha's Vineyard. That's interesting. Alrighty then. So, gonna end the video here. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And remember guys, stay shiny and keep an eye out for the next video. Ciao!